right, guys and girls, welcome back to chapter 3 of the book. So, I hope chapter 1 and chapter 2 quizzes are all finished. Hopefully you finished them. Remember, don't wait, okay? Don't wait for 2 or 3 weeks afterwards. Do the quizzes ASAP, all right? Chapter 1, chapter 2, nice, easy, simple chapters. Chapter 3 is also nice and easy, hopefully, for everybody. All right, so let's take a look at it. Let's see what we are studying today. So if you look at this, chapter 3, what do you do? Okay, so if you remember, last week, or last class, last chapter, we did what are you doing? All right, we did present continuous. Now, what is the difference between these two questions? All right, very simple. Okay, so if we ask here, what are you doing? Remember, what are you doing is talking about now. Okay, so very simple to remember. This is all right, now. Okay, let's put that now. What are you doing now? Now, what about what do you do? What do you do is talking about, it is talking about like now, but it's not talking about necessarily your actions right now. It's talking about something you do regularly, something you do as a habit, 습관, right? Something you do as a routine, right? Part of your day-to-day schedule, okay? So what do you do question is talking about routines and habits, right? Habits and routines. So if you look at these words, right, our 15 words that we usually do, you can see things that you probably do every day. You probably, unless you're me, I don't brush my hair, I have no hair. You probably brush your hair every day, right? Some people exercise once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. Everybody goes to bed. Maybe you set an alarm every day. Travel, maybe you go traveling once a year, okay, or twice a year, something like that. Have breakfast every morning. Maybe you don't have breakfast every morning. Maybe you skip breakfast every morning, okay? So these are just things that you do, or maybe you don't do every day, every week, every month, every year, okay? So hopefully these words here should be nice and easy, all right? Things that you put on deodorant, use mouthwash, makeup, all these things are very simple words, all right? So again, guys, if you don't know what these words are, then you need to write down the Korean, all right? So floss, I think, what's floss in Korean? Chishu? Anyway, you can check it, all right? Check what it is, write it down if you don't know, because again, some of these words will be in your quiz. Okay, so it's always important to remember them. Okay, so that is your quick 5 minutes share, right? So 15 words, 15 questions. Put the words into the blank spaces down here. Easy peasy. And next class, guys, I will check the answers, and you can check it with me, and we'll make sure we get the right answers for the questions. All right, so let's come down here and let's look at the grammar focus for this class. Let me zoom out a little bit. A bit close. There we go. All right, so let's look at the grammar focus. Simple present tense. Now, we did do simple present tense, but we did it with be verbs. Okay, remember chapter 1, we did simple present with be verbs. So we asked the question like, you know, are you a teacher? Right? Are you a teacher? This is a be verb, simple present question, right? Are you a student? Whatever it is, okay? Now, when we are talking about actions, these are action verbs, okay? When we're talking about actions, we need to use, do and does, especially if we're asking questions and negatives, or we need to use action verbs, not be verbs, okay? So if we look here, the simple present is for talking about or describing events that are habits or routines, okay? It is also used to discuss general truths. This is for verbs that are not be verbs, okay? So don't think about this today. We're not doing are you, am I, is he, is she. Okay, I'm not doing those. Okay, so let me quickly write down a couple of examples here. So remember, habits and routines, things you do as a habit or routine. So it could be something like, I, what would I do? I go to the gym 3 times a week. All right, so this is my routine. Okay, something like that. All right, now what about general truth? Okay, it says here, discussing general truths as well. So we could say something like, dogs don't eat chocolate. Okay, dogs don't eat chocolate. All right, so we've got our subject here, we've got our negative, and our 동사 here, verb, and this is our noun here. When we're talking about dogs not eating chocolate, dogs don't. This is a truth, okay? This is not talking about my dog is eating chocolate now. No. This is talking about all dogs, all right? If dogs eat chocolate, some dogs can die if it's poisonous for dogs, right? So dogs don't eat chocolate. Right? You can say something like that. All right. You could say something about English people, like people from my country, right? English people eat fish and chips. All right. Not all English people, obviously. All Korean people don't eat kimchi, right? We know that. But just a general sentence, right? English people, this is my 주어, eat, 동사, and then my noun there, okay? So this is it, guys. We're just talking about habits and routines, all right? I go to sleep at 9 o'clock every night, blah, 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 all right? Or truths. Dogs don't eat chocolate, all right? Cats chase mice, right? It's something that most cats do. If they see a mouse, they'll chase it, and they might kill it. Okay, so let's scroll down and let's see some of these examples here. All right, so we've got, remember what I said. You need to remember that we use do and does when we're using negatives, yes, no, and WH, okay? Now we're gonna check this in a minute, but let's look at positive statements first, okay? So with positive statements, it's very easy. We have our subject, right? I, you, we, they, whatever it is, okay? She, it, he is all here, okay? Now, if I use I, you, we, or they, then I just use a regular verb, nothing special, all right? I don't need to add s, es, or ies, don't need to add anything, okay? But if I use he, she, and it, then I do need to add an s, es, or ies, okay? Now it's very important that you know the different verbs that use s, es, and ies, okay? Now, there's a little bit of a rule to this, but sometimes the rule is changed, okay, for different words, okay? But an easy way to remember this, guys, if you see a word with a Y, all right, so study has a Y at the end, usually Y words can be changed to IES. Okay, so if a word ends in Y, we make it IES. Okay, so again, if we have here study, then we can say she studies every night. Okay, usually. And the reason I say usually, guys, because sometimes it doesn't happen. Okay, so you can see here, this word is play. Yes, it has a Y, but when we use it with he, she, and it, we use just an S. Okay, so some of these rules are not absolute rules. They're not completely for every word. Okay, you just sometimes have to remember there are some words that don't use this rule. Okay, so yes, plays doesn't use the rule. Okay, but there are lots of words that do use the rule. Okay, and again, guys, if you need to check some words, good idea is to go to the pages at the back of your book. So I can scroll down there really quickly. Where is it? Here. Okay, so if you think, oh, I don't know any tongues, I need to think of some words, then you can use the words on this page, all right, and that can help you if you need. Okay, all right, now I've got to find, oh, I'm here. Okay, good. So, a couple things, right? If I say I, you, we, they, then I need to just use a regular verb, right? Eat, play, go, walk, study, whatever it is, okay? But if I use he, she, it, then I need to say he eats, he plays, he goes, he studies, he teaches, all right? That's where we need to think about the rule, okay? Especially for why. Now, there are other rules. Again, the rules are not absolute, but there are other rules. For example, most of the words will just be plus an S. Okay, that is most of the time you will see this, right? Eat is eats. You know, whatever. What else do we have? You know, make is makes, right? Again, we got play is plays. But there are obviously some words like go is GOES, right? Goes. He goes. We can say dance, but dance here has an E. It has an E already. So we're not going to put ES, okay? Because we have two E's. So you have to look at the word. If the word ends in an E, then you know we don't need to put ES. We just put S, okay? So it's very easy to check this as well, guys. If you need to check, oh, okay, what is it? E? Is it ES? Is it S? Is it IES? You can always check this very easily. Okay, so that's positive sentences. Okay, so just remember the two different rules here. Okay, now what about negative? Negative statements, we have the same thing. Okay, so we have I, you, we, they, but now we're adding do and does. Okay, so I, you, we, they, do not. Okay, do not comes up. Do not eat, do not play, do not go, do not whatever it is. Okay, so I, you, we, they do not. You do not eat meat. Okay, that is a nice simple sentence using I, you, we, they, and do. Okay, or do not. He, she, it does. Okay, so again, it's the same sort of idea, right? Do, we have to add an ES, does. Okay, so he, she, it does not. And then here, you see, very important, guys, this verb is the same. Okay, it's not this. It's not verb plus S. Okay, it's not. It is just a regular verb with no extension. We don't need to use an ES or an S or IES, okay? Because we already put it here. So if I make a sentence here, guys, all right, let's say she, let's say, goes to, no, let's change that. She cooks for her mother every weekend. Okay, something like that. She cooks for her mother every weekend. Now, what if I want to make it negative? All right, I need to use does not, right? So she doesn't, right? We can say that, does not, doesn't, but we don't say she doesn't cooks. Okay, now we need to change our S and take it away. So she doesn't cook for her mother every weekend. And that is the perfect sentence. Okay, so please just remember those little changes. All right, that's why we have this guide for you. Okay, so when you make sentences, check the guide and you can't make any mistakes, I'm sure. Okay, all right, so that is if we are using negative, right? I don't, she doesn't. Okay, so here she does not play baseball, or she doesn't play baseball. Okay, now everything else down here, guys, is the same. Okay, everything else is the same because we're using do, we're using does, we're using do, we're using does. It's the same thing. Okay, this is a mistake here. The book has an error, so don't worry about this, guys. This and this is wrong. Okay, you probably can tell me what this should be. All right, it should be, very simply, it should be, right, he, she, it. Okay, so put that there. Right, that should be he, she, it. I thought I could copy and paste, but that's not happening. Anyway, right, that should be he, she, it. Okay, so everything else is the same, right? So remember what we did in the last class. When we make questions, we need to change, we need to swap the 주어 and 동사, all right? Now here we have do and does, all right? So that's what we need to swap around with my subject. Okay, so if you check here, do I, right? We just swapped it around, all right? So I do I, swap it around like that, right? And same here. Okay, so let me just clean this a little bit. I'm a bit messy right now. You can go, all right, good. So, what do we have? Question: Do you like? Right? This is a basic question. Do you like cheese? Do you like kimchi? Do you like whatever? All right. So, do I? Do you? Do we? Do they? And then a regular verb. All right. So remember, all of these are just regular verbs, or irregular verbs, but they are not using S or ES, all right? Don't need it. All right, so do you take vitamins? Does he drink coffee? All right, nice and easy. And WH question, all the same, you just add your WH to the beginning. All right, so here's a WH here, here's a WH here, okay? How often do you study English? Where does she play soccer? Okay, nice and easy, guys. All right, so please check this, check the guide, and I think you'll have no problems making sentences. So let's just do one quick example for all the different kinds of sentences, okay? Just so that we make sure we understand. All right, so if I take this all away, let's not do too much. Finish. Okay, there we go. So let's do a couple of sentences. No, let's just do one for each. Okay, so positive statement, we can do something like some habit or routine we do every day or frequently. Let's say, oh, I know you guys watch Netflix probably, right? Netflix generation. So let's say that. My sister watches Netflix every night. Perfect. All right. So my sister watches Netflix every night. Now you can see, guys, that I'm putting in this time, this symbol, okay, of time, this time expression, okay. Now time expressions and frequency adverbs, guys, we'll look at in a minute, but you guys know most of these, right? Every day, every week, every year, once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. Maybe you know these, okay? But I'm just going to use it just for practice here. It's good habit. All right. So my sister watches, right? So the word ends watch, but then I add es, right? So my sister watches Netflix every night. Okay, perfect. That's my positive statement. Okay. Now, what about negative? Again, guys, I'm going to give you a quick 5 seconds. Write down what it is if it's negative. Same sentence, right? My sister 동사is watch Netflix every night. But change it to 부정. Right? Change it to negative. Should be my sister doesn't watch Netflix, right? Not doesn't watches. Okay? Like I said, we don't need to put S or ES. My sister doesn't watch Netflix every night. Okay, good. Now, what about we want to make a question? Okay, again, same thing. Sister watch Netflix every night. Okay, you guys, 5 seconds. Write it down. All right, so you should have, we're starting off with does, right? So does my sister, now we could say my sister, we could say does your sister, either one. I'm going to write does your sister watch, and then everything else is the same. Netflix every night. Question. Okay, does your sister watch Netflix every night? What's my answer? My sister watches Netflix. Yes, my sister watches Netflix every night. Or no, my sister doesn't watch Netflix every night. Okay, and last one, WH question. You guys, 5 seconds, write it down. What possible WH question can we use? Remember, check page 3 if you want to see some WH question examples. All right, so it could be something like this. Why does your sister, and it's all the same, right? Watch Netflix every night. Why does your sister watch Netflix every night? All right. You say, oh, because she loves this new Korean drama, blah 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 blah. Right? Everyone loves Korean dramas these days. All right. So why does your sister watch? It could be where does your sister watch? It could be how often does your sister watch Netflix? If it's how often, guys, then you don't want to say every night, okay? Because the answer is every night, okay? Lots of options you can use, all right? So there's some examples, okay, using the same kind of sentence. Now, what do you guys need to do? Same as always, right? You need to write down some examples, right? So same here, 2, 2, 2, and 2. All right, same thing, guys. Go up to the vocabulary section up here, choose 8 words, maybe from here. You can choose any words you want. You can make new words, it's okay. But yeah, choose 8 words, shave, what else? Take vitamins, whatever it is, okay? So we come down here and we want to write down some example sentences. You do this yourself, okay? So we could put here, Jinwoo shaves his face. Let's just say shaves. Jinwoo shaves 3 times a week. All right, something like that. Now, if you think, oh, teacher, I don't know how to use this 3 times a week. Again, we should probably write 3. Then come back up here and look at this. All right, so we've got here frequency adverbs, which is 항상, right, always, or sometimes, or or frequently, or whatever it is, okay? So those are your frequency adverbs. And then we have time expressions. Once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. Now, if you want to see some examples, then you can check down here. All right. Now, I suggest, guys, just choose a couple of these and put them in your sentence, right? So we've got always, usually, sometimes, almost never, almost always, often, rarely. Now, all of these in the red box, these are all frequency adverbs. These are all frequency adverbs, okay? I don't know why this is a mistake. This should not be here, all right? Time expressions are in the green box, okay? Every day, every month, every year, every morning, every whatever, okay? Once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, 3 times a year, once a year, twice a day, whatever it is, okay? That's in the green box, okay? So time expressions are here, okay? Now just use them, guys. Use them how you want to use them, but use the guide when you're making your sentences, okay? So frequency adverbs or time expressions can be used. How do we use them? Super quick, I'll show you. Up here, time expressions are usually used at the end of the sentence. Frequency adverbs are usually before the before the verb. Okay, so what example here? I eat breakfast every morning. Tim shaves his head 3 times a week. Okay, what about frequency adverbs before the verb? John always brushes. Before my 동사 brushes, right? When do you usually put? That's my 동사, usually. All right, 보통. All right, so use this guide, guys. Use this to help you make your sentences. Again, you need to make 8 sentences. Okay, so again, we can come down here and I can say, all right, I want to use 항상. I want to use always. All right, so I could say, she doesn't always forget her homework. Okay, she doesn't, or maybe sometimes she forgets her homework. All right, she doesn't always forget her homework. Something like that. All right, so remember, 8 sentences, guys. Write it down in your book. Next class, we will check it and I will ask you for some examples. All right, it's good practice. So do that, nice and easy. And then remember to do the 15 questions up here. And always, guys, always remember to finish the quiz. All right, so when the quiz opens, chapter 3 quiz opens, paddle, do the quiz. All right, guys, have a great day. Chapter 3, nice and easy. If you need help, let me know. See you next class. Bye-bye.